Hey, I have been living in Korea for a week now. I didn't really announce it on anything when I did actually decide to come here. Because of that, a lot of the messages I've been getting on Instagram especially, sorry the aircon is really loud, but you know, just is like how I moved and why. So I thought I'd just, you know, make a video about that. You can take this video as if you're interested in moving yourself. This is how I did it. So the first and most obvious point, I guess, would be like a visa. You could probably split visas down to 4 separate categories, and the first one is the 90-day one. You can come here for up to 90 days without having a visa. It's called the 90-day visa, but you don't have to actually apply for a visa. When I'm making this video, you don't anyway, like it might have changed. The 90-day tourist visa is literally just, you can come here for 90 days and that's it. After that you have to leave, but you're essentially just a tourist. So if you want to come for 3 months and you're happy with that, then that is the best option because it's the least amount of effort. If you want to come for longer, there's only really 3 other types that you can probably apply for. The first one is working holiday. You can check with your particular country how many of these visas are issued per year. For the United Kingdom, where I'm from, there are 1,000 of them issued each year. The application form for this particular visa is like really tiring though. I would recommend going down to the Korean embassy in your country. Go there and see if they can help you fill it out because it is complicated and you have to provide a lot of information and a lot of details and a lot of different IDs, like bank details, etc. So it's a lot to fill out, but it's a possibility. As far as I know, this is a year. It's essentially for people who are looking at going kind of backpacking around countries. You do need to prove that you are there not just to kind of stay in one city. You're there to explore and like take in the culture. So you do have to prove that. If that's not what you're looking for, then this probably isn't the best one to apply. The next 2 options are working and student. So if you want to study over here, there are different universities that you can apply for. The majority of the universities tend to be around the Hongdae area, which is like the student area. Have a look at the universities there, see if you're eligible to apply for them or get in, and in which case you can get a student visa for something like up to 3 years or however long you're studying. The final one, which is the most difficult to get, is employment. You need to have a company that is based out here that would be willing to sponsor a visa for you to move from your job in your country to a job out here. There are many different types of this particular one. If you work in, say, the entertainment industry, like modeling, acting, then you can get the entertainer's visa, which is for employment in the entertainment industry, etc. So if you're currently employed, you can look to see if there is a similar company in Korea that would be willing to sponsor your visa to be able to come over, and for that one it's years, up to years, to be able to live here. For the next option, which is flights, I can only recommend from the UK over to Korea. There are 2 main airlines, which is British Airways and Korean Air. Personally, I found British Airways to be cheaper. When I flew out, it was actually during the season of coronavirus and flights were incredibly cheap to come out. I always found British Airways to be cheaper. However, both fly from Heathrow to Seoul. So for that, you just have to look at whatever airline is your country's airline and compare prices. Now, the next part is accommodation. If you don't have a visa, you can't technically rent a flat from a landlord here. You need to have a visa to be able to do that. If you're only coming to visit as a tourist, I would always recommend Airbnb over different hotels. It's a lot cheaper. I noticed in Seoul especially, they are very, very accommodating. They will give you a lot of free stuff, usually like toiletries, things like that. On Airbnb in particular, you get monthly discount for most places. So if you're staying for, say, the 3 months, then the more months you stay, you will get hundreds in discounts on the price. So I highly recommend that. With Airbnb you get like a flat somewhere, so you've got a kitchen so you can cook, which turns out cheaper in the long run. Different locations that you might want to look at staying in. The place that I live in particular is called Gangnam, which is extremely central, if not the center of Seoul. It is definitely the tourist center. You've got all of the entertainment companies all around, loads of big brand shops, things like that. It is definitely the most expensive area. The kind of people you see walking around are very glamorous, very done up, so it's definitely the most expensive, but it is central and it's where a lot of tourist attractions are. The next place I'd recommend, which is my personal favorite, would be Hongdae. This is good if you're like a student because it is the student center. If you're into more like street fashion, like streetwear, this place is way better. Loads of vintage stores, loads of cheap clothing, and student nightlife. So the bars there are definitely cheaper. Clubs in Gangnam, where I am, tend to be the ones that you would spend loads of money in a night. Very similar to clubs in London. The last place that I know of is Itaewon, which is the most densely populated with foreigners. It is definitely the best for English speaking. If you don't speak like any Korean, then most of the places in this area will have places where people speak English, or at least are more accustomed to foreigners. Going back to like visas and stuff, the different types of work that you can get vary a lot, and it all depends on how well you can speak Korean as well. One of the most common ones, well no, the most common one that you can get a visa for is teaching English as a foreign language. There are always jobs going for this. The only condition is you need to have graduated from university with a degree. It doesn't matter what the degree is in, but you need to have graduated uni with some kind of degree. You will need to do some kind of teaching course in order to do it as well, like TEFL. The next one is like probably what I struggled with the most, which is cards, banking and money. I personally don't have a credit card, I only have debit cards. I would be charged for every time I used my card abroad, which if I'm living here for a long period of time is not going to work very well. For credit cards, I don't really like that because it gives me anxiety having to remember to pay off for credit cards every month and stuff like that. I like having a debit card because I can keep track of my money, and I know as long as I don't spend more than I have, I don't owe any money to anyone. So if you're the same as me, the best thing I can recommend is a company called Monzo. This card you can use abroad without any kind of fee when paying. You can use it on most card machines. Some may not accept it, so you just kind of have to ask beforehand, but most will accept it. And then you can also use it at ATMs here. Look, it's moving. This is like the highest currency you can get. So this is a Monzo card. They are very neon. Basically you just download this app and they will send you a card. They will have special ATMs written in English, and you can pick English as the language as well when you use it. And they're special ones just to accept foreign cards, and Monzo would be counted as a foreign card. So there you go. Honestly, I highly recommend that as an option. It has just been like the easiest thing for me ever. Alternatively, if you're looking at moving here, upon arrival, I would advise that you open a bank. The main reason for this is if you want to ever, in the time that you're living here, buy anything online, even if it's from like a company that is not Korean, like H&M. If you want to buy something online, they will not accept any payment unless it's a Korean card or Korean bank. This goes the same for most food delivery apps. Like youre is one which you can't order mostly unless you have a Korean card. Some places will take cash upon arrival, but a lot of them don't. Alternatively, if you have any issues, say going into stores and trying to communicate, best app here is called Papago. I don't know if that's how you say it. Basically just a better version of Google Translate, more accurate. Finally, when you actually arrive at the airport, taxis. There are taxis lined up outside the airport that you can get into one and then show them the address that you're going to, wherever it is. Taxis here are like London, they let you pay in cash and card. Honestly, I don't know if Uber works here. Like, I haven't really tried it out. I didn't know whether it was as much of a thing here. The main company that seems to kind of dominate in Korea is Kakao. So their version of Uber is called Kakao Taxi. If there's one thing I'd recommend getting app-wise for coming here, it's Kakao. Everyone uses it for everything. It is used for like maps here, it is used for the subway, for buses, stuff like that. Just get Kakao. It's a messaging app, kind of similar to like WhatsApp, but they use it as much as we use Facebook. I will make a separate video on different apps that are useful here, and also things to note for after you've moved. This is just the process of moving, because this is what I had to go through and deal with myself when coming over. This is the stuff that I wish I'd known when I was looking at coming over. So I hope that's helped, like, even a little bit. I've helped one person with one thing, then it's worth it. Bye.